All right. We are live, Big Travie. It's telling me we're live here on YouTube. I will jump into the live stream and see if it is here in a second. We are Waiver Wire show. It's here, week 15 Waiver Wire show. How you feeling, buddy?
Feeling good. We're getting into week 15. So obviously, if you're listening or watching, you've made it to the next round, or maybe you're trying to get through that consolation bracket, not get last place. Who knows? But we're trying to get you further along. One more round to go after this one. That'll get you that championship hardware. And there's a few names out here. There's not many, in the running back situation, but we'll have a few for you. And as always, we want to answer those questions for you, but we'll kind of work through our waiver wire show first and answer your questions at the end. So don't hesitate to ask them. Just know that we're not ignoring you. We'll get to those questions at the end. No article this week as normal, but I've got a full list here for you. And Johnny will help us work through those. And we'll obviously bring up some of the guys that are rostered a little too high to make the list, but that you should be checking to see if they were dropped in your leagues as well. You can't forget about waivers in the playoffs. Just because you're in, your work isn't done. You should be checking out the waiver wire, even if just to block your opponent from picking up a guy that could be startable for him. So, you're not just playing your roster, you're playing against your opponent's roster and any holes that they might have.
Yeah, that's probably one of the most under talked about parts and aspects of this time of year is not only the players that you have, but your strategy against withholding players so that other teams can't get that and play them against you. I think that is equally as important and as big as having the right pieces that you play, because sometimes you might not get the outcome that you think. You might play a player that is expected to do well, and then sometimes it's nice to have. If you had stashed another player that maybe the other team might have played against you, that could have been the difference. So majorly important to not just look for guys that will fit your team, but also to block other teams. Big ups to you, Big Travie. If you want more insider stuff, because I don't think if that stuff's talked about enough in our industry, if you want some more of that, you can hit us up on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. My co-host here at Big Travie, TFW on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny_GameTime. We also put it in the screen here, so you can find us on Twitter. Ask us any questions there. Ask us line of questions if you don't catch us here on this live stream. But once again, if you're new to our channel, I want to say thank you so much for everyone joining on this live stream. And if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that bell notification so you get notified anytime we drop new content or go live. It's basically daily. And hey, if you want to just pop in, say hi, we'll be around. Like, we're doing this year round, Big Trav. We're not going to stop the shows just because football's over. So we love to see our community hang around. All right.
Yeah, if you can stomach it, obviously, if you had a tough loss, we understand that. But we're going to be doing all sorts of stuff, mock drafts, looking into, dynasty stuff, looking back at this year, giving you that, evergreen content that you can kind of take and consume for the fantasy football off season as well. This is what we're going to do, man. We're going to keep growing Whisper Nation. And speaking of Whisper Nation, just want to give a shout out. Obviously, we're not answering questions just yet, but Elias really active here in the chat. Gus Ramos in the chat as well. Thomas Egley. Just want to say thank you guys for stopping in here. Appreciate you guys in here. And as Johnny said, we'll get to those questions towards the end of this stream after we get through some of these waiver ads.
All right, so like we talked about before, we won't talk about those guys that are over 50% rostered, but we'll throw their names out here just in case, just so if they're on your waiver wire, pick them up. Cam Akers, DJ Chark, Leonard Fournette, T.Y. Hilton, Jared Cook, Logan Thomas, J.D. McKissick, and Cole Beasley. All those guys, look for those on your waiver wire and pick them up if they are on there. Those are the top priorities. All right, beyond that, we're talking about guys who are less than 50% roster, and we always start with the running back position. Big Travie. First up, you got Jeff Wilson Jr., San Francisco running back. Here we go again. Tevin Coleman was activated, or he came back last week, but didn't see any snaps. But Jeff Wilson, here we are again. Is he going to help lead you to that championship game?
He's going to have a shot, Johnny. I mean, Mostert with the MRI today. I haven't heard any more news, but it's not a good sign. And you look at Jeff Wilson, even with Mostert in the lineup and some other guys in the lineup, he's got 11 or more carries in 2 of his last 3 games. But the big thing for Wilson and for any back, like we talked about at the top, even if you're blocking your opponent who may have running back issues, Wilson gets Dallas. That's the 6th worst fantasy running back defense that out there. 21 points per game allowed. Even the Cincinnati Bengals last week, who fumbled every chance they got, still put up points against the Dallas defense via the running back. So for me, Wilson is the priority ad of the week, just because of the pure upside he's going to give you against Dallas. But then also, like I said, blocking your opponent and not allowing them to get anybody they could put in their flex right into their lineup.
All right, moving on to the second running back you have here. We got Benny Snell Jr., Pittsburgh Steelers running back, who's rostered only 20% of Yahoo leagues. Now, James Conner did come back last week, but you still think that Benny Snell should be a guy that you should go out and grab if he's available.
Yeah, Connor came back, was very terrible in a good matchup, and then complained about a quad issue today. So there's something brewing there with Connor. Maybe could miss time. And if he does miss time, Pittsburgh's going to get Cincinnati on Monday Night Football as 12.5-point favorites in that game. This is an absolute smash spot for Pittsburgh. And I know they don't like to run even when they're ahead, but this game looks like a game for Pittsburgh to get right in. And I know Benny Snell has not been good, but I do like Snell as a plug-and-play flex play if Connor were to miss that Monday night. And if you have Connor, you should be rostering Snell regardless, given the situation. So just a priority ad here as far as running backs concerned.
All right, I like that one. We also have, we have a very own Gus Bus, but Gus Edwards of the NFL, Baltimore Ravens, he's rostered only 33% of Yahoo leagues. Had a very, very good day. It seems that Baltimore has now done the right thing, and just we understand that Melvin Gore or Mark Ingram, he's a great hype man, but he just doesn't have anymore. And they finally seem to have just turned this over to Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and it seems to be working finally.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I wish it was only Dobbins, and that's kind of where Gus is he's a ho hum, kind of gonna get you the yardage, and it looks like he's getting the red zone carries, which is nice too. This is a great matchup. I'm hesitant to put him any higher than third amongst these running backs because Dobbins really caps his upside. But you look at what Edwards has done: 3 rushing touchdowns in his last 3 games, 150 rushing yards on the ground in his last 2 weeks, and a top 5 matchup against Jacksonville, and Baltimore 13-point favorites in that game. So really, game script's going to be in his favor. You could do a lot worse than Gus in your flex this week. So the second best Gus bus out there is Gus Edwards. Gus Ramos, obviously, number 1 there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely second that. All right. So let's jump on over to the wide receivers. We'll talk about a couple because that's a little bit lengthier of a list as it tends to be this time of year. So the very first wide receiver you got here is Russell Gage, Atlanta Falcons wide receiver, roster on 11% of Yahoo leagues. As of this very moment, we don't know if Julio Jones will play this week. Travis, to be honest with you, between you and I don't think he plays. But it is, that's just a gut reaction. And as a result, we had Russell Gage just stepping in and filling in quite nicely this past weekend. But you like him again this week as a nice waiver wire ad.
Yeah, Julio, I'm hesitant to say that Julio will or will not play. We've seen him gut through a lot of things. But to your point, Johnny, if he doesn't play, you've got a situation where Russell Gage has seen 7 or more targets in 3 of his last 4 games. 50 or more yards in those same 3 games. And, if Julio's out, Russell Gage is the de facto number 2 behind Calvin Ridley, who Ridley's had a little bit of health issues this year too. So Gage seems to be fully healthy, going to be a body there. And then if you look at this game against Tampa, right on the schedule, I think you can put Gage in your lineup right away. They're going to play Tampa Bay. And Vegas has this as the 5th highest over/under on the slate for this weekend. So we've seen Tampa be susceptible through the air. I like Gage in this matchup.
All right, I like that pick up there. Second, we also talked about him on last week's show. He had an okay day this week. Was kind of projected to be a little bit better because of the matchup, but it was a tough day for Houston in general. But Kiki Cutie, Houston Texans wide receiver, rostered on 44% of Yahoo leagues. Go pick him up, right?
Yeah, before I get into Kiki Cutie, I did just want to say what's up to everybody in the chat. We got a few people in there, and then 9 watching right now. If we get, we got 5 likes, we get some more likes, so we'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into your guys' questions, so make sure you're still firing those questions away as soon as we get through these guys here. But Johnny, as you said, with Kiki Cutie, rostered in 44% of leagues, he's either got 100 yards or a touchdown in back-to-back weeks now. He's going to get a rematch here against Indy. And if we remember just a couple weeks ago, he went 8 for 9 or 141 yards. So in PPR, it was just a monster day. Even in standard, a really good day. And I think actually Cook's coming back could help QT as it did help him in that Indy game because Indy's coverage kind of went to the Cook's side of the field. So for me, I really like Kiki Cutie. I'd like him even more if Cooks can make it back. It does look like they're hopeful Cooks will make it back. I just think Kiki Cutie, if you're looking at, chemistry with his quarterback, situation, quarterback throwing him the ball, of all the guys I'm going to mention here, you really like that situation for Kiki Cutie. So, yeah, plus he's got a cool name.
Yeah, exactly. All right, third wide receiver we got Nelson Aguilar of the Las Vegas Raiders. He drops a lot of balls, but he's been playing really well as of late for the Las Vegas Raiders, and you like him to continue that week 15.
Yeah, the next 2 wide receivers we're going to talk about aren't the most reliable, I'd say. But if you look at Nelson Aguilar,
I mean, who really is
targets,
these days,
Yeah, that's right. Nelson Aguilar, 9 or more targets in 3 of his last 4 games, 50 or more receiving yards in 4 of his last 6. So even with the drops, he's been capable of putting up numbers for you. And it seems to be if Carr has a good day, Nelson Aguilar is a part of it. You look at this over-under, it's 54.5 for Thursday night against the Chargers. That's the highest scoring game, or at least that's what Vegas believes will be the highest scoring game. So give me this matchup here. It's going to be in a dome. It's going to be a shootout, divisional shootout. And I like Nelson Aguilar as my 3rd ranked wide receiver this week.
All right, I like that one. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, we've talked about him quite a few times. He's a guy that, if you can bear the drops, and stomach the drops, then Marquez Valdez-Scantling could be a guy that you like this week.
I probably shouldn't write about MVS because when I tell you to pick him up, he does terrible. When I tell you not to, he does great. He's got 6 or more targets, though, in 3 of his last 5 games. He's got one of those games where he didn't get anything, but that was the game after he had the Colts fumble.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Rodgers, though, giving him a lot of praise in the presser this last week. I watched Rodgers' post-game conference, and he was very hyped on MVS, said it was one of the smartest football plays he'd seen, and definitely one of the best plays MVS has ever made this past week. He had a man's catch, a contested catch for a touchdown against Detroit that was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, that was very nice.
You look at Carolina, they've given up 14 wide receiver touchdowns, including 3 last week to guys like KJ Hamler and Tim Patrick. So for me, it's just, the matchup's really good against Carolina this week. If you're looking for that what the heck flex, you really need to make up points. Maybe a team's projected to beat you by quite a bit. Maybe you want to block Aaron Rodgers. There's different ways you could get MVS in your lineup. And maybe you're playing some daily this week. I think MVS has a good shot to score and keep the good times rolling against Carolina.
Definitely agree with that. Tim Patrick, another guy that we've talked about quite a bit. We liked him last week, and I should have taken my own advice and played him. But Tim Patrick doing some work in Denver, and he's building a rapport. Does have a difficult matchup this week, or somewhat difficult matchup this week. But what do you think about Tim Patrick? What are your thoughts on him, real quick?
Tim Patrick will have the second worst cornerback matchup against Buffalo this week, but I do like Buffalo. They've been susceptible, hit or miss against wide receivers. Really love KJ Hamler's matchup against Tyron Johnson in that, but we'll talk a little bit more about that. Patrick is fine. I like Tyron Johnson of the Chargers as well. He's rostered in 0% of Yahoo leagues, but with Mike Williams likely out, Tyron Johnson had some good usage with Mike Williams out last week, scored a touchdown. Rashard Higgins was a bright spot on.
And one other thing is Keenan Allen was out of the Chargers game. No one's really talking about it, but Keenan Allen was pulled out of that Chargers game late in that game for I think they were
She would have
saying
been pulled sooner.
yeah, right. But keep that monitored. They're not really talking about it, but keep that monitored on because that could be a really big pickup.
Yep. Short week, too, for the Chargers to try and get healthy. Rashard Higgins was a bright spot for the Browns on Monday night. Lynn Bowden, another bright spot for the Dolphins. Then Chad Hansen, if Brandon Cooks weren't be able to, if he wasn't able to go this Sunday, then Chad Hansen would get a boost. But these guys are very fringe from Patrick on down. That's why we didn't really spend a lot of time on them. I think you can do a lot better than these guys. Just we need to bring them up here.
All right, we'll quickly jump into a couple of tight ends that you can stream and a couple quarterbacks, and then we'll jump into these questions from WhisperNation. We appreciate you guys for hanging around. If you could do us a big favor, hit that thumbs up button, and if you're new to our channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified whenever we put out new content or go live. All right, Travis, tight ends, Irv Smith Jr. We've been talking about Minnesota Vikings tight ends a couple weeks now, and now it's the opposite. Whereas Irv Smith was out though, for a couple of weeks, and Kyle Rudolph seemed to be a little bit of a flex play there, or a nice streaming tight end. Now Kyle Rudolph is out, and Irv Smith seems to be now taking the place. And we kind of liked Irv Smith coming to the season as a potential breakout. Now, obviously, that did not happen, but it is nice to see this and remind ourselves for heading into next season as a potential breakout candidate at the tight end position. But what do you like about Irv Smith? Can you play him this week?
You can. The caveat here is Rudolph needs to be out of the lineup. He's dealing with a foot thing. He was out of the lineup last week. And you saw Irv Smith go 4 for 4 for 63 yards and a touchdown against Tampa Bay. He's going to get another great matchup. Only 3 teams give up more points to the tight end than Chicago, and they also have allowed the third most tight end touchdowns with 9. So for me, Irv Smith is in a great spot. Just needs Rudolph to sit this game, and I wouldn't be surprised, given what they have in Irv Smith, if the coaching staff just says, you know what, we're going to feature more of Smith. They've done this a couple times. You see Chicago on the other end doing it with Cole Kmet. There are times in the season where teams just need to see what they have. Irv Smith would be my number 1 tight end ad if Rudolph were to sit, so I had to put him at number 1 here just athletically.
I like that. All right, the other one we'll mention here, Dan Arnold has been on a touchdown tear, and we always say if you could score a touchdown at the tight end position, you're probably going to be able to be startable. So Dan Arnold, someone that potentially you would throw out if you got some cojones, huh?
Yeah, 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games, and Philly's a top 10 matchup. They give up 8.8 points per game. You would definitely need cojones. You'd need the stones to put Arnold in your lineup, but it looks like he's getting hot within this offense. And maybe that's corresponding or correlating with, Kyler Murray kind of feeling a little bit pulled back in the offense, maybe them not being as high-flying as they thought. Maybe instead of Kirk, it's now Hopkins and Dan Arnold as the passing attack in this offense. I wouldn't trust Arnold too much, but look, at tight end, you could just be playing matchups at this point, and he doesn't have a terrible one.
Yeah, I like that. All right, quarterbacks before we jump into these questions. Derek Carr, we like Derek Carr. We've been talking about him on the show last few weeks and talking him up, saying he's worth the stream. Continue to stream him this week.
Yeah, I wanted to put him at number 2 because of the next guy we're going to talk about. Is really exciting. But Derek Carr belongs at number 1 as far as maybe stream of the week this week. 3 total touchdowns and 27 or more fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. The Chargers are giving up 19.5 points per game to the quarterback. That's 9th most. And once again, just to reiterate, Vegas versus the Chargers, most sports books believe this is going to be the highest scoring game. It's the highest over-under per Vegas. So we like that for all those reasons. We like Derek Carr this week. I have a buddy in another league who's hit me up like pretty much since Sunday night, just nonstop asking if I would go Derek Carr or Deshaun Watson. Watson's line, Watson's receivers, a lot of things, going up against Indy are are scaring him off of Watson. I don't know if I'm ready to pull that trigger yet, but Derek Carr belongs in the conversation as a top 10 play this week.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Jalen Hurts, he could be a quarterback that could win you some leagues because he's got some wheels, Travis. They like to run it with him, and he seems to be pretty decently accurate when he's throwing the ball. And with them buying time and being able to use Hurts as a scrambler, it's buying them those wide receivers, a little bit more time to actually try to gain separation. It's kind of nice. Jalen Hurts, what do you think about his potential to win you a championship?
It's enticing, man, and if you once again Stones is what it's probably going to take for you to put him in your lineup and start him. But just want to quote our buddy Adam Rank over at NFL Network. He said that Jalen Hurts became the first QB since at least 1950 to throw a touchdown pass and rush for over 100 yards. He ran for 106 in his first NFL start. So you look at what Hurts brings to the table, 100 rushing yards. That's so far as his average. No, I mean, that's what you look at. But the big thing is this matchup against AZ. On paper, they're not terrible against QBs, but they've given up the 6th most rushing yards to quarterbacks this year. So they are susceptible to rushing quarterbacks. And I think that plays nicely for Jalen Hurts, who the running game got a little bit of a spark last week. You've got Alshon Jeffrey saw the end zone. I mean, if you can make Alshon Jeffrey look good.
I know Alshon looked like he did with Jay Smoking Jay Cuddy there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I would just say that Hurts is worth a shot for you in the dark if you've been messing with other guys like Phillip Rivers or even Derek Carr. Like, I understand maybe you don't trust Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr this week though, but Kirk Cousins is another one that maybe you've been streaming. Some guys out there. Jalen Hurts deserves a nod.
All right, Big Travie, we made it through the show, the streaming show, the Waiver Wire show. Now it's time to get into the exciting part. We get to answer. We get to talk with Whisper Nation here. Appreciate everyone for waiting around and hanging with us to this point. If you could do us a favor, if you've gotten this far, give us a thumbs up if you haven't, and we'll jump into these questions. Hit us with a subscribe and bell notification. Let us know in the chat if you are a new subscriber. We'll shout you out here. But Travis Giftopoulos, always in here, man. He's always trying to get that number one question up here. Does so today. He says, pick one, please. JT, Aaron Jones, or Montgomery. Also, McLaurin or Woods. I will tell you, I would go with Woods. Love the matchup against the Jets. I'll just tell you that now. And with McLaurin battling either, I don't know who's going to throw in the ball, either Alex Smith or it could be, now I'm blanking on his name. How am I blanking on his name? Dwayne Haskins, thank you. Or Dwayne Haskins. So I'm not too interested in that. I would go with Woods. But what about the running back, Travis? Who would you go to? With JT?
Yeah, this is tough. It's going to be tough for me to bench Aaron Jones against Carolina. Really high over-under, positive game script favored. He has not seen but 2 touchdowns over his last 5 games. And so something we thought maybe we wouldn't have to say again, about Aaron Jones, but he's got some positive regression for touchdowns headed his way after kind of starting the year hot and settling down a little bit. So I like Aaron Jones here. The matchup's good. The talent, if you're talking about running backs across the board, I'm going to give the talent nod to Aaron Jones. They are all 3 in great matchups. So give me the guy on the best offense with the best talent.
All right, I love that. Gus Ramos, our buddy Gus Bus, says, "What up, guys? Happy Tuesday, dude. Happy Tuesday. I'm so excited because today's Tuesday, and in the Hicks household, we do well. I'm sure in a lot of households, but especially here, dude. I'm from Arizona. Love my Mexican food, and so Taco Tuesdays tonight, man. We're making some tostadas, some street tacos. I can't wait, man.
You got me inspired. I think I'm going to have tacos tonight.
Good. I'm glad.
I was just going to do a salad, but I think I'll do...
You could do a taco salad. I was even telling my wife that. I was like, if you want to go down that road. But, dude, I'm excited. All right. We got Giftopoulos all saying, what's up? What's up, Giftopoulos? Appreciate you in here. All right. Thomas Egley. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Just picked up Dobbins. Well done, sir. Well done. Like that. He should really help you win that championship, or help you get there at least. All right. Gus Ramos says my season is over. So much. Not much you can do against Henry. Yeah, that's a difficult matchup there. But I enjoyed the season. Did a lot with a little, and with your help made the season competitive. Well, we appreciate you guys. We apologize we could not get you that ultimate prize, the championship, but stick with us through the off season and through next season. We'll get you that championship next year for sure. We won't go down that DJ Chark rabbit hole like we did this time, Gus. All right. Del Leon says, I'm back. Lucked out this week. Would have been more comfortable lead if flex Miles Sanders, but minus the big run, it would have been a disappointment. Yeah.
I want to just hop in here because we had a little bit of a Twitter thing happen today where look, we're not happy that Miles Sanders went off, and we advised last week, especially me in our matchup show, advised you guys not to start him. In the lineup show, I think we were down on Sanders in a lot of situations. Look, there was just nothing to be confident about. The only inkling was that if Jalen Hurts could come in and do something that, you heard Adam Rank say that only one rookie's ever done in the last 50, 60 years. Yeah, sure, we could count on that. But the problem is we couldn't count on that. We're playing the odds here. The Saints coming into that game were the number one rush defense. And like you just said, I love this comment by Dell here. Yes, other than that run, he would have been a disappointment. And he was a disappointment other than that run. We know Sanders has home run ability. I just hope Whisper Nation understands, like, we're trying to play the odds here. When you ask us these questions, we're just trying to give you the best idea possible. We're trying to tell the future there. So I just did want to comment on that. We feel bad about the Miles Sanders play, or at least I do personally.
Yeah.
But I would, like I told the guys today offline, I would advise benching him again if they were playing New Orleans again this week. I just don't. You can't trust something that you hadn't seen in multiple weeks to pop back again. So
yeah, you always want to try to go
Miles Sanders deal.
Yeah, just to back that up just a second, we always try to go with the most information and the most logic that makes sense. So it's a giant puzzle piece, and we fit all these different pieces together that gives us a storyline, and then we give our advice based on that. And sometimes that is wrong. Sometimes plays happen. That's why they play the game, and it is unfortunate part of fantasy football, but that's also why we play the game, right? We play it because we like to see that stuff happen. So we don't get 100% of calls right. We won't get 100% of calls right. So I guess if that's what you're here for 100% right, we will definitely fail on that. But we appreciate Del Leon with coming in here, giving us letting us know about that. Glad he made it past. That's the good news. He made it past. That's the glass half full. But he asks, Gage over Mooney, ? And I would say yes. I'm more confident look, Mooney has the air yards. I do think that Mooney is a very interesting piece for next year. I think we'll talk about him a lot this offseason because there were some very interesting factors there. But I'm just not confident enough in Mitch Trubisky to be consistent enough to where I would say I would rather go with Mooney over Gage.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I did want to say what's up to D-Bud. He said, yo. Del Leon says Gage over Mooney, and like as Johnny just said, like Mitch Trubisky is not somebody I want to trust. I'll trust Matt Ryan and that offense over Mitch Trubisky getting it to Mooney consistently. It's Allen Robinson or whoever that week, and so give me Gage, who's been targeted, I believe, in the red zone in all but 4 games this year. I mean, he just continues to be a guy that, especially with Julio out.
And now he's throwing touchdowns. JML Sports asks Cam Akers, DeAndre Washington, or Ahmed. I'm gonna go with Cam. Yeah, Cam Akers, man. He's gonna win some people leagues.
I don't think you can bench Cam Akers until we see otherwise. He looks to have taken over.
Yeah. And then he asks Robert Woods, Jarvis, or Deontay. Pick 2. Need Big Travis take as well. Okay. He didn't like mine. He didn't like my take on.
Well, why don't you give the take? I'll follow it up if I disagree here.
Well, I would go Robert Woods and Deontay here. I love the Robert Woods play. He would be my center. And I just think the upside play of Deontay, I understand the drop thing, and this could change. Make sure you check back in on Sunday because this is something I'll be monitoring closely because I have Deontay in every single league I'm in. And so I will be honest with you if I'm like, hey, that sounds like they might bench him again, but it's looking like he might have gotten a little confidence. So I would go with he always has more upside to me than Jarvis Landry does. I would go with Robert Woods and Deontay. That's my feel.
Yeah, I think the consistent usage that you're talking about there. I don't know if this is PPR JML, but I would love Robert Woods and Deontay. Look, I know Jarvis is kind of heated up as of late, and they're doing some trickeration. He's got the ability to throw. Um, of all the corners that have come through the New York Giants this year, we talk about James Bradbury being a lockdown corner. Now, this is unlimited snaps. He's only had only 30 routes defended, but Xavier McKinney only giving up 0.47 yards per route run. So the slot corner for the Giants has been really good over his last few routes. Obviously, that's going to need more of a sample size, but I'm not saying that he's going to shut down Jarvis Landry. You're just looking for reasons why you'd like these other guys. Deontay Johnson, the usage has been there. I would trust that usage, especially in a spot against Cincy, who's been just torched. And then, as Johnny said, Robert Woods against the Jets. What a great matchup.
Yep, I love that. All right, we have Travis Elkins asking Miami or Seattle D rest of season. This one's wild because I do like Seattle's defense because of the matchups. I don't particularly think they're a great defense. They have definitely improved since the beginning of the season. But Miami is a good defense. Like they have a good defense. They play New England this week. Then they get the Raiders next week. A little bit difficult, but those are both offensive lines that give up sacks. We know how good they are. Their corners are. I would probably still stick with Miami because I wouldn't want to get cute in this situation. And like I said, I would rather go with a defense that, hey, I know they're good over a defense that I'm like, they're okay. They seem to have a good matchup because sometimes that can go haywire quick.
Yeah, this is tough. I think both have bad Week 16 matchups. The Seahawks play the Rams after playing Washington this week. If Alex Smith goes too, like Washington could move the ball on Seattle. I think that wouldn't be terrible. So yeah, I think I would agree with you with the Dolphins. At least playing against Vegas, they'll have a shot. I think more than Seattle against the Rams. So give me the Dolphins. I agree with you, Johnny.
All right, D Bud asks Keenan Allen practiced today. Same with Eckler, but both were limited.
Keenan Allen did practice, but it was a limited session. So
Yeah.
once again, a limited session on a short week. It's just something to keep an eye on. We're not saying Keenan Allen will miss, but you got to keep an eye on a short week. These guys could be, late inactives before you know it.
100% agree. JML Sports asks Tampa Bay or Arizona defense. I don't like Tampa Bay this week. I don't like their matchup this week. I do love the fact that they could potentially be playing Detroit next week with a backup quarterback. So I wouldn't let them go, but I think I would play Arizona defense between those two. But I don't necessarily love the play of Arizona defense against Hurts because of his, like you said, his ability to rush earlier, and you gave up the stat of Arizona being top 6 in rushing yards allowed to opposing quarterbacks. So I would maybe try to stream a different defense if possible. Maybe like a Chicago Bears. I like them against Minnesota this week. But yeah. Anything to add there?
I might play Tampa's defense here. Let me just double check. So 51 over under. They are favored though by almost 6 points on the road. No Julio. And then let me see. I think Matt Ryan been picked off quite a bit lately.
That is true. He's been.
Let's see. So 3 picks against the Chargers last week. Another 3 picks over his last 4 weeks. Let me see how many sacks he's been sacked. 6 times, 14 times over his last 4 games. I think I would roll with Tampa here. I think there's a little bit of upside in that matchup. Sometimes these high over-unders, tend to lean to a defensive touchdown. Then
Mm.
you have it doesn't just mean that the offense will score all the points there. So I'd take Tampa.
All right, then asking for a friend, would you play Tampa Bay or Miami defense against New England this week?
I would play Miami against New England. I think
Okay.
that's the safer play. I think
Okay.
that's the right play.
All right, I like
Low
that.
over under. I mean, Cam just looked like garbage against another tough defense last week. So
I like that. All right. Terrell Too Nice is Rashard Higgins a thing with the star eyes and question mark and like giant my question mark. Listen, I think that I am not fully bought into this full offense. I do think Cleveland's offense is getting better. I don't know if I'm willing to buy in yet on, like, I'm already iffy on Jarvis Landry. I don't know if I'm going to be like, yeah, like I'm willing to be confident in any other pass catchers as well in this offense yet. Like I think that maybe next year you might be able to talk about, are there like with OBJ back and Jarvis and Baker in the second year in this offense, then you're going to see. I mean, you saw it. They talked about it in the beginning of the Monday night game, right? Like Baker, the difference in Baker week 1, where he was timid on throws that were wide open, but now he knows this system a little bit better. He's making those throws.
I think something's cooking here, Johnny. 29 or more attempts and 3 straight for Baker. 258 yards, but then 330, 340 yards passing. Let's see. He's got 3 total touchdowns last night against them, 4 touchdowns before that. So 2 touchdowns the week before that. Giants are a tougher matchup, but you look at Higgins, he's got the best matchup amongst the wide receivers against their cornerbacks. And then he gets to play the Jets in week 16.
I think that's the key. Yeah, getting him for next week.
Picking up Higgins. I don't think you're rushing to start him this week, but next week could be a nice flex play.
Yeah, I think that's I like that. All right. We have follow-up question by Terrell Too Nice. Rank to pick up at wide receiver: Higgins, Hansen, G. Davis, Gage, Mooney, Lynn Bowden. So I think so Russell Gage would be number 1.
Russell Gage is my number 1 pickup amongst most wide receivers. And then it's going to be Higgins.
Yep.
Then it's going to be Lynn Bowden, then Hansen, followed by Gabriel Davis and Mooney.
Yep.
So.
I like that. All right, I knew this question, and this is kind of I want to know what Travis's answer to this. Thomas asked, Russ or Hurts this week?
Everybody just wants to bench Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson's fine. I mean, you got to play Russell Wilson. Like that. You cannot get cute. 30 points last week, got right against the Jets. We said he would. Washington, a much tougher matchup for sure. But if you look at Washington's not a great offense, so there's going to be more opportunities for Russ. Even if he struggles, he's going to get the ball back quite a bit against Washington. So I'm playing Washington, or I'm playing Wilson against Washington, and I don't think it's close. I think the upside you're playing for with Jalen Hurts is there with Russell Wilson. Like he's got huge upside.
Yeah,
this is a guy that was a world beater pace. I just don't understand why you'd go away from it.
It's a new hotness, dude. It's a new. Everyone wants on it. All right.
I guess.
Del Leon asks, DJ Moore, Amari Cooper, or Jarvis Landry? DJ Moore is still on the COVID list, so as of right now, we don't know when he'll be back.
Roto Baller says he's expected to play in week 15, so they think that he's going to play. I would go ahead and assume that he does play.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, though, he's going to be matched up against Jair Alexander a little bit, who has been just lights out.
Do you think Jair will be lined up against him, or do you think he'll be? Because I think he'll draw the second corner for the Packers. I think Anderson will draw.
Either way, Kevin King's been great too, so I'm not really worried about it. The Packers secondary has been great. I'm just going to put it there. Like, DJ Moore's going to have a tough matchup whether he faces King or Alexander, and they'll probably split some of the usage on him. But either way, I will be fading DJ Moore and Landry for Amari Cooper, who's just been solid. Like Amari Cooper has been a solid play, wide receiver 2 floor with upside every single week with Andy Dalton back in the lineup. I mean, you look at this 50 or more yards in 4 of his last 5, a touchdown in 3 straight, 7 or more targets in 3 of his last 4. I like Amari Cooper.
Okay.
I like the floor that comes with him. Amari Cooper and Landry both have tough matchups against corners. Richard Sherman and then James Bradbury for Landry. So I mean, for me, Cooper's a nice play.
All right. We have AJ Perez asking Herbert or Carr.
This one's a caveat. If Herbert doesn't have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, it would be Derek Carr for me. But Herbert's ceiling's kind of gone away lately. He has not been as hot as we had thought. And when Williams left this game, you saw them go to dink and dunk through Eckler, through Keenan Allen. So the ceiling's not quite there. But it's a great over-under. So if you've already got Herbert, I wouldn't maybe bench him because the over-under is so nice. But it would take Allen being out for me to go with Herbert or Carr over Herbert.
And then he follows up with Clyde or Gallman. I think I'm gonna go. I think I would go Gallman.
Cleveland.
Yeah, even though that it's not the.
Tough.
It is a tough matchup. It's but CEH over the here. I'm gonna pull up his because that's But CEH, he's been not seeing the ball nearly as much. They've been getting Le'Veon Bell much more active in this game, or in the game plan, I should say. So I think that I would personally go with Gallman.
Trying to get computers acting slow. I thought CEH got some better work here against the Dolphins. He had 21 touches, so that was nice. Didn't do a lot with them, but still, you like to see the usage.
Oh, there we go.
New Orleans, though, that really tough matchup. I'm not going to bench CEH just because of the offense he's on. If both are in tough, I mean, New Orleans is the toughest matchup.
So CEH hasn't had more than 50 rushing yards. He's only done it once since week 7. He's had one game over 50 rushing yards. And he's only during that span, he's only scored 3 times.
I guess facing New Orleans, they're at New Orleans is at home here in this game. I just love the usage that he got in the passing game, though. I mean, 6 targets, 5 catches for 59 yards.
Is this a PPR league? Did he say it was a PPR league?
No, but I mean, regardless, like if you can throw on New Orleans, so like if they're going to use CEH in the passing game again, that gives me some confidence. I think it's similar though to the Miles Sanders thing. So I will fade him for Wayne Gallman, just Wayne Gallman's usage.
I mean, Wayne Gallman's been getting the same amount of usage as CEH. He's been getting 16 touches a game.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'll go with the better matchup and the usage here that Gallman's been getting over CEH.
Yeah, and then on the opposite side, look at this. Since week 7, Gallman has only had one game under.
That was his last game against Arizona. Like he
no, I'm saying he's only had one game under 50 rushing yards since week 8. That's pretty good. Where we were just saying.
I mean, he just put in his worst game in his last 8. So that's why there's hesitancy here because Cleveland, other than last night, really against Baltimore, hadn't been ran on very well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tougher matchup. They've got a tough front, but I don't mind Gallman if you're going to go pure usage.
Okay. Is it time to drop Ertz? Asks Thomas.
Yeah, that was
I think so. Yeah, like
a long time ago.
Like 2019 should have been dropped. He says can't believe Trubisky looked like 2018 Trubisky last week. Yeah, I mean it's weird. This guy can make some really good throws in the weirdest times, and then it's like he'll be not pressured or there's no pressure. It's like almost he's better under pressure than he is, as just a normal quarterback or if he's given the job. It's kind of odd. But some people are like that, I guess. That's how big Travie is. He sucks when he's offline. Like, and we're just trying to run through the show notes. He's terrible. He stutters all over the place. And no, I'm just kidding. Just joking, big Travie. All right, JML Sports says, "Nah, you good, Johnny. Nobody's gonna be perfect with this. Last time with the girly take, he didn't say much. Oh, got it. I burned him with the girl. I apologize on the girly take.
Lud Icy says AB game against the again versus the Falcons. Antonio Brown, we keep trying to fire up, but he hasn't really done much.
Nobody. They're all just kind of cannibalizing off of each other. I was watching this. Actually, Matthew Berry had put out a nice piece where they were talking about the 3 wide receivers for Tampa Bay ever since they've all kind of been healthier and playing. Nobody's seen more like they've. I think Mike Evans has been the best wide receiver over that span, and he was like wide receiver 28. And then it went AJ Brown or Antonio Brown, and then Chris Godwin was the worst of the 3. It just looks like they're just spreading the ball all around, which is what we thought was going to happen. And they're not. Tom Brady's not connecting on those deep balls. So, but Atlanta, they do give up a lot to the wide receiver. So I think it really depends on what you have if you're willing to trust AB or not. I think that's the ultimate question. Is what else do you have in order to play over him? Because I don't mind it, but I'm not going to just tell you to go start him over any wide receiver. Like, I'd play him over DJ Chark for 100%. Tell you that. But I don't, I wouldn't.
Well, and Chark is getting Minshew back though too, and like had 9 targets last week. So, I mean, I don't know if you're going to go crazy in that. I don't know if it's that much of a difference, but
they get Baltimore next week though. That's not nice.
Baltimore just gave up like 45 points
to Baker.
To Cleveland.
To Baker, dude.
Baker's so good, dude.
You think Baker? Wait a second. You don't think Baker touchdown maker is not better than
Brady?
No, they don't play. No, Jacksonville plays
Minshew. I mean, they're similar. They both wear headbands. I think they're the same.
Oh my gosh, unreal. This is getting.
Baker's got 2 games all year where he looked good, and now you're like, oh, Baker's back. Baker, just trust Baker in this offense.
I mean, Gardner Minshew's had 2 games where he's been good, and people were trying to give him his stuff. So I'm just saying, I will fully admit I am burned by Chark right now, and I am refusing to trust in any of those targets. To me, it's just false. It's just false prophecy. He's a ghost every time I put him in my lineup. Now watch. I'm going to pull him out this week. He's going to go off because Big Travis said so. Okay. We have... Wow, this dude just like keeps putting this.
Yeah. Evan, don't spam us like that, man. We'll get to your question.
Yeah, we're coming up on it, man. All right. J-Mail said, appreciate y'all's feedback. Thumbs up for me. Appreciate that. Let's see. Del Leon asks, appreciate the advice. I'll be back if I advance. All right. Well, you should be back even if you don't advance, man. We'll be here. All right. Pick 2. Miles Sanders, Gallman, Dobbins, or Akers?
I think you're going to go Akers. And then I think I might go Dobbins here.
Dobbins against Jacksonville. I like that matchup.
Really good matchup. Positive game script. I think he could really pop off here. So give me the 2 rookies, Akers and Dobbins there.
All right. Evan asks, this week, should I start the Patriots or 49ers defense? The Patriots, I do think the Patriots are more of a sneaky play because we know how Bill Belichick is with rookie quarterbacks, and what we've seen with that, and even Herbert. That kind of started that whole snowball of Herbert a little bit. But 49ers, they have one of their defense is really clicking right now. I'm going to go 49ers.
Yeah, I like the Niners. They're actually the favorite here. New England is not favored. So 49ers favored, and I think that they'll have a lot, especially if you look at Dallas has just been prone to mistakes with Andy Dalton. He hasn't faced a tough defense in a couple weeks. So give me that one.
Yep, I like that. Bryson asks, full point PPR, pick 1 for the flex, Deontay, Dobbins, or Wilson Jr. Thank you. So we'll give you an answer now, but check back in with us on Sunday morning. We'll go live and we can give you an updated, because the Jeff Wilson could change significantly depending on what those MRI results are for Mostert. If Wilson is the starting running back, that would definitely change my answer here at the flex. But Travis, who would you pick here? I think I'm going to go Dobbins because I feel like he's got the safest floor and his upside is probably equal to Deontay at this point. Even in a PPR, and Dobbins hasn't been getting a lot of dump off work. But I like the matchup.
In the PPR, I'm still going to roll with Deontay.
Are you?
Yeah, against Cincinnati, I think this is a good spot for him to kind of get back to it. Like, look, before the 7 targets in this tough one against Buffalo, 12, 13, 16, 11, 10. I'm going to trust those numbers, over this off game he just had. I think he's going to be fine in this game against Cincinnati. This is a game where Pittsburgh needs to get right. They have back-to-back losses. Give me Deontay. They're going to go back to him. I trust that.
All right. Carlos asks, would you rather run Washington or 49ers defense? Or is there any other defense that you think are better than the ones above?
I love both of these.
Yeah.
Love both of these defense. Washington in a low over-under, 49ers in a low over-under. I'd take 49ers over Washington here this week, but I think both are fine plays this week.
Lud Icy asked, James Conner just made me lose, almost made me lose the playoffs. How do you feel about this week? I think that, there's a little bit of concern. Big Travie, we talked about it earlier in this show. We talked about James Conner potentially dealing with some kind of injury right now. So it's definitely something you're going to want to monitor.
The first thing you want to do, Lud, is pick up Benny Snell on your waiver tonight. That's part of the why we add him, because we should know more. We should know more by Saturday how they feel about Conner. He's going to be a risky play if he does go because of the quad. But I will tell you right now, it's a great matchup against Cincinnati, and they're heavy favorites. So you're going to want to try and get him into your lineup if you can. I know it's not great. I know you don't love doing it, but that's where we're at with it.
Yep. Ron Swanson. Samsonite. I was way off, dude. No, I'm just kidding. Ron Swanson asks, who should I start? T. Higgins, Justin Jefferson, or touchdown y'all Hilton? I'm going to go Justin Jefferson here. Yeah, I understand he had a bad game last week, but this guy is a prolific wide receiver, and it's one down game for him. I'm still going to go with Justin Jefferson, and they got a decent matchup this week. Chill Will asks, Big Travie and Johnny, what's up? What's up? Chill Will, how you doing, buddy? He says, should I pick up John Brown off waivers and start over Beasley? That assuming he practices and active. I definitely think he's worth an ad for sure. But again, this will be something that you'll want to check in with us on Sunday morning after we kind of see what this looks like. But let's just go down the quick rabbit hole, Travis. Let's say John Brown does come off waiver. I do think he's a waiver wire ad. And then would you start him over Beasley if he had a full week of practice?
This one's a tough one. Denver been pretty good against wide receivers. It's going to be in Denver. We don't know if weather's going to be. I don't know if I'd want to start him right off the bat coming back from injury. I don't know if I would start him.
I think it depends on what you have.
Beasley's, yeah. I mean, over Beasley, yeah, I probably would, just because Beasley's been so dependent on John Brown being out of the lineup. But for me, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could.
All right. He says, everyone on chat, smash that like button for the fellas. Appreciate. Yeah, thank you. If you could do that, it greatly helps us grow our channel. If you are newly tuning in and haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please hit subscribe. Let us know in the chat. We'll give you a shout out. We're just trying to grow our community, grow our brand. Fantasy Whisperers here. So join WhisperNation. All right. We got Carlos asking Chris Carson or Michael Thomas at flex. I think I'm going to go, as of right now, Chris Carson. As a more, he's got a higher ceiling to me right now, or sorry, higher floor as of right now. And unless I know Drew Brees is coming back this week, which I don't think he is,
Yeah, I like Chris Carson. I think especially in the lower over under. Carson's been good, been getting healthier. Looks good.
Let's see. JML Sports.
JML.
Quad
Yeah, James
injury. Yep.
Conner with the quad, as we said about earlier. Ron Swanson in the chat. What up, Ron? James Conner, 1.8 yards made me lose the playoffs. Yeah, I can understand that. Not something that was a top 12 matchup. Not something we saw coming at all.
Yeah. Very, very frustrating. They were even talking about it on the stream or on the television about how they're just not running at all. Hansenberger asks, "Hey guys, quick question: Acres are cut for Heisenberger. Thank you, Heisenberger. Sorry about that. Hey guys, quick question: Acres are cut for PPR flex. Have Carson, Aaron Jones, Tyreek, and Diggs starting. This is for the chip. Wow. Okay, so this is a big one. I think I'm going to go Akers, man. Just give me that. They have done 2 back-to-back games of over 20 carries. They look to be Sean McVay really loves this rookie, and I'm staying the Flames. We saw him, the starting running back for the LA Rams has been very consistent. If you've been it was Henderson, and Henderson was startable for that whole time Akers was out. You were very happy with him. He had RB1 upside. And then as soon as Akers came back, and then that was when the production kind of flipped, and they were trying to get him more involved. And now that it seems to be Akers, you've seen back-to-back games with him just dominating the total touch share there. He's the red zone guy. Like I would go Cam Akers in this situation.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I don't love it because I love Cup and his upside, especially in PPR. But I do agree with Johnny, and he's had back-to-back games, good games against good defenses against running backs too. So that's what I'll lean on.
All right. Bryson asks, "What are your thoughts on Godwin going into Week 15? He was very disappointing last week. Should I be concerned?" Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit. All 3 Tampa Bay wide receivers seem to be cannibalizing off of each other, and ever since all 3 of them been somewhat healthy and active in the roster, they've basically been worse than a wide receiver 2. And so I think that he still has the upside for sure because he plays that slot position. He, in theory, should be Tom Brady's go-to guy. So, of course, there's always the upside.
Playing Atlanta, this is the one. This is the one wide receiver of those 3 that I'm confident the most in starting this week, even though they've all been disappointing. PFF has him as the highest advantaged among the wide receivers. He's going to get Isaiah Oliver in the slot for Atlanta, who's giving up 1.72 yards per route run. You love this matchup for Godwin, regardless of the cannibalization. He's the one you're smashing back into your lineup over the other 2.
Yep. Heisenberger asked, or he just said just sub. Well, appreciate that.
You, man.
Thank you, man. All right. Chill Will says thanks, fellas. Thank you. Let's see. For flex, should I play Zeke, McKissick, or Akers? Asked Swanson.
Akers, man. Yep. And the answer is Akers again here. Just got to roll in the flames with those.
Yep. Chill Will, I got a good problem to solve. Pick 2 wide receivers in flex: Adams, Jefferson, Bobby Trees, or Ayuk. By the way, I'm up 40 points. Nice. There you go. That's going to help really well. But, I mean, with those wide receivers, wow, you got to pick 2. Definitely Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams. Shouldn't have even been asked here, but he's definitely in your.
And I think I would go. I think I would go Bobby Trees, man. Against the Jets, man. They've just been. Lamar Jackson has just been giving up fantasy points like Oprah Winfrey, man. Like,
yeah, I'll take Ayuk.
I do like Ayuk as well. Is this did you say PPR?
He said flex as well. So he said pick 2 wide receivers in a flex. You're going Adams.
Oh, okay.
You're going Bobby Trees, and then you're going Ayuk. And I think you can bench Jefferson here.
Yeah, I like those.
Great problem to have.
Great problem to have. All right, Diego555. Which 3 should I start? Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, or Robert Woods?
You can bench Terry McLaurin here. Obviously, low over under. The issues with maybe the quarterback not playing. You're definitely going to go with Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, and Robert Woods. Now, Allen will, and you'll get the benefit of knowing if Allen plays or not, which he probably will.
Yep. All right. that does it. We made it through all of the questions here. We appreciate you guys so much. As always, if you have more questions we didn't answer here, you can find us on Twitter at BigTravyTFW for Travis. You can find me at Johnny_GameTime. Slide into those DMs. You can find us on all social media platforms. Just search the Fantasy Whisperers. And catch us on a live stream. We'll be live Friday with going over news and notes. And then as well as on Sunday morning, 90 minutes before kickoff, we will be answering all of your latest waiver wire, or not waiver wire, all your latest ins and outs and lineup questions to get you into that championship game. Until next time, that's Big Travie. I'm Johnny Game Time Hicks. We appreciate you, Whisper Nation. Make sure you hit subscribe. All right, peace.
Peace.